We are here live, WWE Post Game Live, our new branding for our post WWE shows. We have Scott Young and Keila Cash from The Wrap to join me. So we're going to cover Evolution, but I wanted to give them a shout out because this is their second show in 2 nights. And then I saw that Keila even cameoed on the AEW post-game live show last night. So y'all been busy. Keila, how much wrestling have you watched in the last 48 hours?
Jesus Christ, maybe a full day of wrestling over the last day or so. Like, you thought WrestleMania weekend was wild. This weekend was actually crazier.
Yes. And Scott, you guys were on live last night after the Great American Bash, Goldberg and Gunther. And now after Evolution, which, I know Great American Bash got more of the hype. It's the Goldberg show. It was the one that they had moved head to head with All In. And I think we all had kind of hoped, Evolution was going to be like the sneaky show for WWE of the weekend, which I think it was. Though I will admit I didn't watch Great American Bash. I meant Saturday night's main event, not Great American Bash, by the way. I thought we did get that good show, but I'm so bummed because there wasn't any real great promotion for the show until Saturday night's main event, when I thought they did a really good job of bringing Bianca in and doing some video packages. But they kind of left this one hanging, and it just frustrates me because I think, at least I've seen online, just the amount of praise that this show got has been tremendous. So of the shows that you saw, Scott, I'm assuming you like this a lot better than Great American Bash last night.
Yeah, this is definitely my show of the weekend as far as WWE goes. I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there. This is one of the best shows they've put out all year. I thought the women came out with something to prove. The main event is something that we will be talking about for a while. The match before the ref bump, top tier. After the ref bump, we're reaching another level. And then we get a finish like that. That is an all-time finish. A Black Queen standing tall at the end too. Just a little cherry on top. Just all-time great.
Okay, so where are we these days with the cash-ins where it's the surprise cash-in, though we've seen this dance thousands of times by now. AEW has a similar, Christian Cage had the similar kind of briefcase for them. So this has now spawned multiple companies, many companies, and Naomi cashes in as a heel and just does what the last minute of the match, cracks Io with the briefcase in the head and wins the match. I hate it when the babyface does it. I think it's better when the heel does it, but still, I just have this issue with changing the title in this way. Tiffy similarly got her championship in this way, but it sounds like you really liked it, and I thought the moment was cool, but I still have this issue with the title changing hands in this kind of I guess it's a booking crutch because you have this situation with the briefcase and you're going to have to do it this way. But I don't know. We've seen it so many times and I'm just okay, this is what we expected, as cool as it was. But I think I'm probably in the minority on this one as far as how much it worked. Keila, what did you think of Naomi's cash in?
I did not expect it in that moment of the main event because we presumed she was going for Tiffany's title. And then the complete swerve of her coming out there to go after Io's title, it was a great surprise. I think that in this situation, that's what a heel's supposed to do. She saw Rhea and Io expend every amount of energy in this match. And she said, now it's my time to pick the bones. And that's how you're supposed to do a cash in as a heel. It made sense. Michael Cole had a very rough night, but when he said, hey, it's a triple threat match, no DQ, no rules. You can do whatever you want to do. You can use the briefcase as a weapon. And she did. And that's how she got the victory. I can't knock it because it makes sense. You would capitalize on your opponents being at their weakest and you just going out there to get what's left over.
So do you think Okay, now so here's the other problem that I usually have with how they do it this way. Because of the cheap-ish victory, it's almost like it creates a transitional champion. Do we believe that with this title win, Naomi has ascended to a level of where they see her as a top star? Or because she got the title in this way, do we see her as maybe more of a transitional champion, and all of a sudden it's going to go back to maybe it goes to Bianca, or it goes back to Rhea, or something? Like, it's just they have to play off the gimmick, and Naomi is not the long-term plan. I don't know the answer to that myself, but I think if she became the top or one of the top 2 or 3 women in the company, that would mean a lot more for this cash in than if she just is kind of like, not just bring it up, not to compare the Jey Uso thing, but Jey Uso similarly became a transitional champion when all was said and done. So, Scott, do you think that she has ascended and she's going to be treated as a top star?
I think you're going to get a little bit of both. I think she's absolutely ascended. And I think going forward, she will be in this main event picture. But that doesn't mean she can't be a transitional heel. Let's not forget Edge, one of the best heels WWE's ever had. He was a great transitional heel whenever they needed him to. When Mr. Kennedy got hurt, he had him get the briefcase. He cashed in on The Undertaker. Great transitional heel there. So he's someone who was an 11-time champion. I guarantee at least 7 or 8 of those were probably transitional title reigns to get it back to the babyface in a more meaningful way. So I think it can be a little bit of both. And I think Naomi has showed with the matches with Jade, the matches with Nia Jax, being able to have a good match with anybody, being able to bring this character to life and just have this crowd reaction, regardless whether it's good or bad, they're always reacting for her. I think she will absolutely stay in and has solidified herself in that main event.
So she faced Jade earlier in the show. They had a no-holds-barred match, and Jade wins with the Jaded through the table. So automatically what you created was Jade as a top contender, but we had sort of assumed that Jade was headed for Tiffany's title. Do we switch gears, and is Jade now headed for Naomi's title with being the queen of the ring? Keila, where do you see this one going?
Ooh, this is tricky because it made it brand specific. So Jade can't just hop over to Monday Night Raw. So she's stuck with Tiffany, and Naomi lied and said, hey, Io, I don't want your championship. I'm after what Tiffany has. So they swerved everyone here. So I don't know if they're going to kind of negate the rules of winning the Queen and King of the Ring tournament, but we shall see how they play it on SmackDown. But knowing how they bend the rules, it would not shock me because there is still some equity there with Naomi and Jade possibly at SummerSlam, and the added mix of Bianca Belair, because that is still unfinished business there as well.
The other thing about it, and I just thought about it right now, when do they do that show where it's champion versus champion? Is that a Saudi Arabia show for that giant belt?
Yeah, that's right.
But they won't be doing it this year because they're going to be in Australia. So Crown Jewel might be that championship match.
So, because if they do that head-to-head title, champion versus champion, they can have Jade win again if Jade was to beat Tiffany at SummerSlam, and then you can do that match and Jade can win again, and it's a non-title match essentially. So you could do it that way, but it changes gears, and I do wonder. I think for the last, pre-2025, I think we had really given Triple H the benefit of the doubt as far as his booking. And post-2025, I'm not as much giving him the benefit of the doubt. And I wonder if this was a long-term plan or if this was a little bit of a hot shot to take advantage of what he presumed would be a hot end to the show, which it was. I think most people thought it was. Because I wonder if in a month and we go in hindsight, okay, that didn't really pay off in the way that we wanted or that we thought it was, and it feels a little bit more like a hot shot. I don't think there's a problem if it was, by the way, because sometimes you just need to take advantage of opportunity. But that's something that I'm going to be watching for as well, because my thing again, if we're giving this woman the title, I want her to be a champion. I don't want her to be what's our girl's name on SmackDown, the U.S. champion, Zelina. Yeah. I don't want her to be the Zelina Vega of world champions, right? Because it was very clear when Zelina Vega got that title that nobody saw her as a champion. She just got it because she was eventually going to lose it, and I hope that Naomi, because her character has been so great, but at the same time, if you were to go on a wrestling scale, if you were to say in ring, she is a little bit behind Rhea and Io and Bianca and Charlotte and Becky. Like, she is a little bit behind those women, but she's also really good at the sports entertainment part of it. So I think she can make up. So we'll see. I'm just not convinced with this current booking that the champions are really the champions, and the stories sometimes bother me. So we'll see. But I'm happy for Naomi, because it did look like she was feeling it. Like she that was her moment. And I don't think I've talked about this, but I was at Wale Mania, and Naomi was one of the special guests for Wale Mania. Actually, Naomi and Jey Uso. And she was in character, and her character was basically yelling at the fans and saying, I y'all don't give me my respect. And everyone in that crowd was like bowing to her. Like, they were, there's that is her crowd. And she was trying to stay in character, but it was not working because people were just loving her too much and were cheering for her too much. But at that moment in WrestleMania weekend, I was like, I wonder, because she's really killing it with this new character. She's getting over in social media. She's doing all the big gym stuff on Twitter, which is cracking me up. And I think she has some, and, we can kind of talk about this part, which is, if you go all the way back to her and Mercedes stepping out, and now Mercedes was in the women's match at AEW's biggest show this weekend, and now Naomi cashes in at Evolution this weekend. They kind of had this real parallel universe where both of them kind of circled all the way back, and they proved that leaving for the reasons that they did was the right thing to do based on where they are today. I kind of just put that together when I was watching the Naomi thing. But Keila, does that add to this? If people know the Naomi story of her and Mercedes just kind of piecing out, and kind of she had to pay her dues to come back, even though her family is such a big part of WWE, and then now she's basically achieved all the reasons that she walked out in the first place.
Absolutely. When they walked away, it was one of the bravest things you can possibly do, to basically say deuces to you. We don't need to do this. And then to basically go back to square one, go to TNA, reestablish yourself as a star, and then you let WWE come to you. You let them write the check. You let them open the checkbook and see how much you're worth. And she came back, and since the moment she came back, she's been at the forefront of that women's division on SmackDown. She's been in the championship mix. Her and Bianca Belair were great tag team champions. We saw some of the best matches this year in WWE, at least on television, for those very tag team titles. So she came back in a stronger position. The Nia Jax matches are a prime example of that as well. So I think that walking away was probably the best thing she ever did. Same with Mercedes as well. Look at where they are right now in their respective companies. They're at the top of their game, at the peak of their careers 3 years later.
Yes, it is pretty amazing in hindsight about how all of those things came together. So I guess that that is the main takeaway of tonight, is, at least to me, was Naomi coming full circle, Rhea and Io having a really, really good match. And in an interesting way, though, if you are if you really like that Rio and Io match, you are desperate for another one because it didn't end in the way where one woman is better than the other. They're telling the story that Rhea has never beat Io in a singles match. And I think that there is enough meat on the bone left for them that when either of them get another title, or maybe you don't even need a title because they're both so over with the crowd, but there's unfinished business and there's a big match still with both of them. And I think we need a conclusive finish because what they were doing was fantastic. Like Io doing the dive from the outside, the Spanish fly from the top rope. Like one of my early complaints about like the 2016 Four Horsemen era of women's wrestling, I was like, y'all can do just about everything that you want to do, but then they would try to do one thing that was like really hard and they would screw it up, and then people would kind of clown and go, oh, see, you know, they're not as good as the guys or whatever. But now what Io and Rhea did was better than anything on WWE TV that I've seen in a few weeks here. So kudos to them, man. Like that was a really good match, but it won't be seen, I don't think, at least personally, as the classic, maybe that WrestleMania 41 match because of the lack of like the conclusive finish. Like I think if we people in hindsight, I think they're going to look at that match a little bit higher. And for me, the reason why I like that match better is because I'm just a bigger Bianca fan than just about anybody else, and she was great in that match. But this is really close, and just fantastic stuff. But we'll get to more about some of the the three of us put together like a little bit of a top 5 list. So we're going to get to number 2. But before that, I was in the middle of shouting out Scott and Keila because starting on Wednesday of last week, we had the Dynamite show went live on Wednesday. Then Jeremy and Steven with Speaking of Strong Style went live Thursday. Then Sam and Mel with the Power Bombshells did their pre-show on Saturday morning. And then we had 2 live shows last night. Scott and Keila did theirs, covering Great American Bash and Saturday Night's Main Event. And then Jeremy went solo and had some call-ins, and Keila did a run-in like Naomi with the briefcase. and so like, you know, we do this really because it's kind of our voice, you know, we want our voices to be out there. And it's not really, you know, it's a hobby, but it's not a hobby where, you know, we're all getting stipends for doing this. Like we're literally doing it out of the fun of it. And the one way that if people watching or whatever, you know, you do want to give them a little bit of love. We do have this like super chat button here. And I don't need super chats, but support those other shows, the Dynamite show, Speaking of Strong Style, Power Bombshells, these post-game shows when Scott and Keila are going to go live, because it is really like it is for the love of the game kind of thing. But most importantly to me is that you have Scott and Keela's voice talking about WWE. I love supporting voices of color. I am a person of color myself, though I am biracial. We have Scott and Keila, people of color, Keila, woman of color, and I just like supporting the voices. So shout out to both of you for doing such a great job. And the wrap every week on our podcast network, and you guys, whenever we do these live shows, I know you guys are up to it, and it is a labor of love, though. It's not like, you know, there's time, there's consumption and everything involved. So I just wanted the people who are listening and watching to know, you know, how much I appreciate y'all. Okay, so number 2, I would say this is something that Scott came up with, which is, do you guys think that this should be a yearly show? Should we have Evolution 3 next year, then Evolution 4, then Evolution 5? They didn't even call it Evolution 2. They just called it Evolution like they do with all of their non-WrestleMania pay-per-views. For some reason, WrestleMania is the only one that gives numbers. But Scott, since you brought it up, what do you think about doing this show every year?
I don't know how you can't. I mean, with the women that we have, and I thought the Battle Royal especially was a great example of the pool of women that are there, where you don't even need to have a bunch of returns, surprises. They told you exactly who was going to be in it, and you just saw just the cream of the crop who are ready to come up and take over. I absolutely think you should do this every year. Give them the time, the space, the opportunity. Because let's keep it a buck. HBK booked this thing. I mean, we had black women all over the place running stuff. We had booking that made sense, that caught you off guard. Let's just keep it a buck, okay? Hunter had nothing to do with this, all right? Not a thing, all right? So I absolutely think we should have this as an annual event so they can have their space, because Triple H is booking the rest of them. Let HBK have this once a year, and we're going to get arguably the best show of the year.
Keila, what do you think?
Let's do it every year. Now, I saw the WWE post show on Peacock, and Triple H already hedging. I don't know, guys.
This is what he did the first time, right?
He's like, if there's a demand for it, like, look at your social media. You're being tagged in posts saying do it every year, because look at the reaction. This show is getting more praise than WrestleMania 41, night 1 and 2 combined. So you need to do this every year. The one thing you should not do is compete against AEW during their biggest weekend of the year. Don't do that. Pick a day that is going to be just for the ladies, for the weekend. Have a time of it. Atlanta was awesome, despite y'all being right across the street from Beyonce. Like, it worked out for y'all the way it was supposed to. The fans were hot for it. Pick a destination city and do a show that's for the ladies, that's for the fans, that's for the love of women's wrestling, and just call it a day. Stop hedging. Stop saying, well, we have this amazing platform across our shows. You don't use it every week.
Yeah.
You don't utilize it the way you should. So yes, we do need an annual show to showcase the absolute best of women's wrestling. Stop playing and take it seriously.
I agree. I've had very smart wrestling people say, well, if you create a show for the women, then it excuses them to create other things for them on other shows. Like, there was no women's match on Saturday night's main event, right? So I push back on that, because a lot of times, when we say, oh, there's a men's Royal Rumble, there's a women's Royal Rumble, there's a men's Survivor Series War Games, there's a women's War Games. And sometimes the storylines and the hype and the TV time favors the dudes, except in NXT. NXT is the rare place where it feels almost 50-50. Like Sean and his team, it does look like they really try and make that show equal time for the women. Not on Raw and SmackDown, that's for sure. Not on AEW, but that's a different story for AEW. But WWE has 3 brands technically. I feel like what this show does is it forces them to level up the programs for the women. Because you have to have a main event. You had to have a Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. You had to have something creative at the end to get the internet talking. And if it wasn't Evolution, this storyline or this match would have been like 4th from the top at one of the nights on SummerSlam. It wouldn't have main evented, by the way. It just wouldn't have. We saw the WrestleMania main events, right? CM Punk and Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, and then John Cena and Cody Rhodes. That terrible match. This show, this match, it would have been mid-card stuff, even with Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, even with Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus. It would have just been, maybe 2nd or 3rd from the top at best. So by having this show, you have to create those moments and you have to book this match like it was the main event. What I would like, though, is for them to actually promote the hell out of it, because they did not do that this year. They waited until the last second because it was one of the sacrificial lambs, like Keila said, for the competition against AEW. AEW, I think AEW did a good job of kind of minding their own beeswax pretty much, and they kind of did what they wanted to do. I still think that show was about an hour and a half too long, but this show specifically, if you want to use NXT as your sacrificial lamb, go ahead, be my guest. The only thing that's going to happen is people are going to skip those shows who may have wanted to watch them. You don't want to do that with Evolution. Evolution, this is 2 times in a row this show has outkicked the promotion of what you've done for it. And they didn't have Ronda Rousey this time, right? They did it without Ronda Rousey. They had Nikki Bella, but not Nikki Bella in a main event role. Some women are no longer there, because Keila and I and Sam did that watch back on the very first Evolution, and same Triple H excuse after that show was over. Oh, if there's demand for it, we'll have to see what the business stuff says. The business stuff can be good if you don't sabotage it. That's what I'll say. And I am not sure that they see it that way, which is unfortunate. I hope that somebody there kind of goes, hey, who can fight for it? Hey, we need to do this every year. It needs its own day. I just looked up women's specific holidays. How about Women's Equality Day? August 26th. How about International Women's Day? March 8th. Equal Pay Day. No, they don't want Equal Pay Day. They don't want to run it on that day. It would be nice. It would be nice. Becky Hogan, she's doing her thing. She's like, I'm gonna do this Hollywood stuff. You want me in a TV show? I'm in. If I don't get pushed, I don't get pushed. I'm in this TV show. Go for it. Do your thing, Becky. I love it. But I think that's you have to. And I've seen this happen in so many different areas. My favorite, like when I was growing up and I was, a teenager heading into my young 20s, my favorite person who would speak out was Tupac Shakur. And Tupac Shakur said he's got this. It's in one of the movies that they did after he passed away, and he's got this thing. He said it on MTV television. And he was saying how, people are saying, why do you got to be so loud? Like, why do you have to be so forceful? And he's like, well, we have been asking for years. We've been knocking on the door, politely asking. And now we have to kick in the door because there's people on the other side who are eating and we're hungry. And I was just like, this is such a fantastic explanation of why you have to be forceful sometimes and why you have to make noise. Somebody's got to do that for this women's show. Stephanie McMahon, I don't think is stomping her feet enough. And she probably, she's not even really making decisions, but there's got to be somebody there who stomps their feet and says, this needs to be a special show every year. And here's why. And here are all of the things we can do. We can celebrate these things. We can bring in these things. We can put a spotlight on these things and make this thing bigger. Now, you're not going to do that in Saudi Arabia, and that's really what WWE cares about right now. But, they can really spin this thing up, I think. I just don't know if there's a willingness or a pioneer or a fighter of causes in that company to really speak up for it. So we'll see, but I'm not too keen on that actually happening as much as I want this show to happen every year.
Part of the problem is that Triple H got to figure out who's a champion because he probably can't see it right now.
Yeah, he can't.
There's that. He only sees one champion right now. He only sees Tiffany. He has no idea what's going on with the other two.
Oh man, I wonder if that guy regrets that comment because he hasn't like called it back into question and said, you know what, my bad guys, that was really stupid. He has not done that.
He didn't see the whole Cody Rhodes, Brandy Rhodes thing. He didn't see what Brandy had to tell that man. You don't see me.
I
what
was
is going
at
on?
that Starcast, and Brandy was telling the story while Cody was right there, and I was looking at Cody going like, "Oh man, I feel for this dude. He probably feels like the biggest jackass in the world. His wife is calling him out right now." But that was her story. She's like, "This is the deal." So, anyways, all right, off of my soapbox. But I do think that I would love for there to be somebody to speak up about this stuff. Okay, another thing. So, I will say I think I'll lead with me. I'm a big fan of Charlotte Flair. I really love Charlotte Flair. She comes out with the Players Tribune piece, and I was saying this WrestleMania timeframe that I thought it was kind of unfair that her program was going to be with Tiffany Stratton, because who Tiffany Stratton represents in wrestling is Charlotte Flair's replacement when Charlotte gets too old. And then in 10 years, there's going to be another Tiffy replacing Tiffy. And that's just kind of how the wheel goes with this stuff. And so I could see it when Charlotte came back, got booed, fans weren't feeling her. I'm like, okay, this is unfortunate and it's unfair. And she came out with the Players Tribune article, and she spoke or wrote from the perspective of Ashley, which I thought was very smart. And I was kind of wondering if this crowd was going to be savvy enough to know that that thing had come out and that Charlotte was showing some vulnerability. And when I watched this match, I originally, when I watched it, I had the sound down because of where I was at. And as I was watching the match, I was like, okay, I hope this looks like the crowd is behind Charlotte based on how she's hitting her comeback and hitting her moves. But I didn't know for sure, so I asked, and people said like there was some chance for her because they saved the hot tag for her and everything. And then I went back just to see some of the crowd reaction to Charlotte. So my question to the both of you, and Keila, we can go first with you. Charlotte's team didn't win. Charlotte got over so much by saving Alexa from getting speared. Like, that was like a moment for the crowd who have been dying for Charlotte to just show some vulnerability, sell for your people. You know, you don't have to be top dog constantly. Like you can be a little bit more of a team player sometimes. And it does seem like this role of her tag teaming with Alexa Bliss is helping her. And do you think that she is kind of back, or do you think based on the different crowds it may change back to the boos and such for Charlotte?
I think it's the beginning of her being back. And I think Scott and I talked about this on our show last night, that it just felt like there was a glow to her the last couple of weeks, probably when she wrote the article before it was published. Like, this weight was off her shoulders at long last. She was able to express herself freely. And I said, if you have fun, if you bring elements of Ashley to Charlotte Flair, I guarantee you the fans will embrace you. When she got that hot tag, that crowd went ballistic. I thought I was in Bizarro land. I was like, just a couple of months ago, y'all was booing this girl out the building, but she's out here hitting her spots. This was the best she moved since she's come back from the ACL injury. And I think the tag team with her and Alexa has done wonders for her. Alexa, we have to give her 10s because she has been able to pull some humanity in Charlotte Flair, the character. I love their dynamic. Their entrance was hilarious, of them just trying to one-up each other, and they're corpsing. They can't keep a straight face because they generally like working together. And I said this on Twitter. I think before the year is out, I do believe they'll be tag team champions. And I think they'll be beloved when it happens. And the fact that Charlotte saved Alexa in a perfect timely spot from that spear, it really cemented them as a tag team. And I think that before the fall is over, or maybe the summer, depending how they play it, they will be tag team champions and Charlotte will be over as a babyface.
Scott, when you saw Charlotte hit that hot tag, do you think this was like smart match producing, I guess is the right term for it? Or do you think this is something that was like kind of organic in the ring? Like I assume that they had set like, they put the match together and they set it up for Charlotte to get the hot tag. But I don't know if when they set that up that they knew the crowd was going to react like this. Like I'm trying to figure out, I would love to know. I would love to ask somebody in the back, like, did you guys know that, she was going to get this crazy cheer? Because it seemed like one of those moments of like, whoa, like this is amazing. Like this is exactly what you wanted out of this moment. And whoever put this together is brilliant. But I kind of wonder if some of it was like luck. Like, I don't know. What did you think about that moment?
I felt it did feel very organic. I mean, from the moment her entrance hit, the music hit, the crowd was completely with her. I mean, just they were on their feet, they were wooing with her, and I think it was all planned. It seemed like it was all laid out that way, where they knew they were going to get a reaction, and I think that was the main thing. They knew that regardless of what was going to be, it was going to be a reaction. I don't think they thought it was going to be that positive, because you could see Charlotte when she first walked out. She kind of took a step back, like, wait a minute, are y'all out here cheering me? Oh boy. You can see her whole kind of mood change. Again, maybe it was just me. It looked like her shoulders kind of dropped a little bit.
Yeah.
And like she was like, you know what? I'm good. And that's when the fun started, when she started blocking Alexa Bliss with her robe and all that kind of stuff. So it seemed like it was all planned. And it seemed like it just worked better than they thought they would. I'm with you. I'm a big Charlotte Flair fan. I think she just, people just got tired of her being pushed down her throat.
Yeah.
She again showed she's one of the best in the world. And this RKO rated R on the RK Bro-esque tag team they have, because it's very similar. Because when Orton saved Riddle, I think it was from AJ and Omos. I believe it was AJ and Omos was the big moment where Randy stepped in and was like, nah, that's my guy. You going through me to get to him. It felt very similar. Charlotte just on that same path where you go through the tag team, you show your partner you're seriously trying to change. Crowds with it. She's going to, like Keila said, she's going to be over as a babyface. She's going to be that main event level that elevates the tag titles. And if this match is any indication of what HBK could do with the women's tag division, it could be in good hands.
They need to take advantage of it. I don't want to see her in a singles title match for a little while. Like you can do that down the line when the character is working. But yeah, I think this is tremendous. A tremendous job on all parties to get her back into the good graces, because it's been a while. The only other time I feel like she got cheered was because the crowd just hated Ronda Rousey more than they hated her, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm the babyface here. I got it." But yeah, it was great to see. I've been a big Charlotte fan from the beginning, and just awesome. It was an awesome moment. I'm sure she sees Mercedes, and part of her Players Tribune article was basically saying, "Yeah, like the four of us, it's not like we have a group chat, where we're updating each other after shows. I wish it was like that, but it's just not like that." But you see Mercedes in one of the top three matches, one of the top three on AEW's biggest pay-per-view of the year. And then Charlotte's not in one of the biggest matches, but this match probably helps her career in present time more than anything that she's done of late since she's come back. Then you had Becky open the show with Bayley as well. So those four women who they've been here for a while now. We've seen them for many, many years, but they are still in the mix. And it's great to see that, because like she also said in that article, she's like, who's older than me? Cody Rhodes. and no one thinks he's too old to be in the top spot. So all of those things, I think we're right on the money. And it's basically what I've been saying in our Discord for so long, which is I understand her plight, because as a woman in a vanity business, it's harder because you're picking on the looks and the body, and guys can just get jacked up on steroids and kind of fit the bill for as long as, they got the money and the doctors. And it's much harder on the women to keep like a look or a figure than it is for the guys. So I have a lot of sympathy for what the women do, especially as they get a little bit older. And, again, vanity business. This is just what it is in Hollywood too. This is no different from Hollywood and television and in any department where there's looks or fashion involved. Like it's harder for women everywhere. So I have some sympathy for them. Okay, we'll move on. We got 2 more things, then we'll break down the whole show. We'll give winners and losers and thoughts on the matches. So one of the things about this show, and I was kind of wondering how much they were going to allow NXT to shine, because like we said, or like I said, I'm not speaking for you guys, I feel like NXT is the only pro wrestling program in the U.S., by the way, because Stardom is all women's program, all women's company. Only U.S. company where I feel like the women are on even an equal ground with the men. We had Sol Ruca and Zaria in the tag team match in the 4-way. We had some of the women in the Battle Royal, and we had Jacy Jayne and Jordynne Grace in the title match with an assist from Blake Monroe. I still don't feel like they got enough shine, though. Now, Scott, I know that you mentioned Sol Ruca and Lash Legend shined kind of as maybe the new Rhea and Bianca for you. But I still would have liked to see maybe Jada Parker do a little bit better in that battle royal. I think she held her own. She did a pretty good job. Lash was one of the 2 remaining. And Stephanie Vaquer is not, she's an NXT alumnus as well. So she's still close to that brand. But did you guys feel, and we'll start with you, Scott, that NXT got enough shine considering they are the one brand in the company that actually does showcase the women's wrestling more than the others?
Well, considering that Izzy and Tatum didn't even get mentioned until after they were already thrown out of the match.
As far as the Battle Royal goes, I thought the way they did the women at the beginning was just like,
it felt like when Hideo Itami
got the big opportunity to be in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal at WrestleMania, got to wave to everybody, and then Big Show tossed him out. So that's what it felt like at the beginning. But Jada, like you said, Jada did all right. Kalani got to have a Kofi-esque moment as far as with the handstand walking back. Jada got to eliminate Natalya. And I thought Sol Ruca looked real good in the match. Not a fan of her being pinned, but that's a whole nother story.
Somebody else said that in our Discord, and I was thinking, I guess you could have pinned Zaria, but I just figured that one of the NXT women were getting pinned.
Yeah, but you pinned in the double champion? I know nobody knows she's the speed champion, but she's a double champion. You pinning her? You pinning Sol Ruca? What we doing? But yeah, I think overall, when we look back at this event, I think yes. I think they will, because they're going to point out Sol Ruca. They're going to point out Lash Legend in particular. I think she's the one that really going to show like she was this close to winning the Battle Royal, getting a title shot. And I thought she looked tremendous. Like,
who did she press slam out of the ring?
She who was it?
Was it Zelina? It might have been Zelina.
It was Zelina. Because at first she was going to powerbomb her, then Zelina tried the Hurricane Rana. She caught her, flipped her over. Then she every time she has been thrown to the wolves, has been given a big opportunity, she has knocked it out the park. She gives me very much Bianca vibes as far as the level she's picking it up. Every time she's put into a big spot, like I said, she answers the call. I just think she's ready to be given more opportunity, more spotlight. And I don't know if Triple H is the guy who's going to give her that. Like, she's going to get all that in NXT. I don't know if she's still going to get that when she gets called up.
Yeah, it's a great point. Keila, what did you think about NXT's, their performance on the show?
I was concerned during that Battle Royal. I was like, Nia's about to eliminate all the NXT girls. I was like, Ava, you made this big speech I have 6 women I'm selecting for this match, and all of them are going to get eliminated in 5 minutes or less. So like, oh my God. But thankfully, like, I was happy that Lola survived down the stretch. Lash had a nice showing towards the end. It salvaged things, but my God, I was worried. I was like, are we taking the NXT women's division seriously for them to be kind of treated like this in a very disrespectful way? Had to mind my words there. But yeah, I was concerned. But I think overall, in terms of the featured matches, not a big fan of So being pinned either. But I thought overall it was a good showing. But I was very concerned 5 minutes in that battle royal, because I was like, what are we doing? This is no. We're not doing this. We're supposed to showcase NXT as next generation. That's what it stands for. Don't do that.
I'm actually surprised they didn't just increase the size of the battle royal to put more NXT women in there, because there's NXT women who are currently on television right now who were not in that match. So kind of interesting, because they could have. I mean, why not? Especially if you're just going to toss 2 of them immediately before the match even starts. You might as well. So, yeah, kind of interesting. Okay, so last question or last topic, and then we'll hit we'll hit the entire show here. Trish Stratus. This is such a crazy one for me, because I think Trish and I are very close to the same age. So when she was running hot in WWE, and she's admitted like not knowing what the hell is going on or what she was supposed to do, she's put with Prince Albert and Test, and just kind of out there just looking, they were looking for very attractive valets or managers, for the wrestlers, and was definitely that. And then she transitions her career into being, still the women's wrestling division in WWE was not that big. There was, maybe 6 or 7 of them at a time. And, maybe you get one match on a pay-per-view. And sometimes you don't, because they would cut the women's match. And so now, Trish was really, growing as a worker and as a wrestler, but she retires before this the spotlight that they were able to put on the women, thanks to Charlotte and Sasha having that match in San Jose that I was at before WrestleMania 31. And so now she has come back multiple times. And as a Trish diehard, I was actually at her Cauliflower Alley Hall of Fame ceremony, and I got to take some photos of her. And then I think her team used some of my stuff, and I was like, "Oh, you guys can totally use it." And then she reached out to me directly, and she was like, "I'm so sorry that they used it without your permission, but thank you," or whatever. So that was kind of nice. But so I've just been such a fan, and now to see her at an age older, we just talked about the Charlotte thing, and Trish is probably 8 or 9 years older than Charlotte. And she has this match with Tiffany Stratton, who's a legitimate athlete, just crazy athletic. And she stood there toe to toe with this woman. And had they been given a little bit longer of a time, I think they could have had even a better match. But totally solid, great pro wrestling match. I'm still kind of concerned about Tiffany's character. She's kind of a baby face, but she acts like a heel constantly. Trish's ultimate baby face. And I just thought that whole thing really worked. It didn't overstay its welcome. It was right in the middle. It did what it was supposed to do. But Trish is so amazing. And I just wish, for her, I feel like Trish was born. Now, she was probably born at the right time to do that post-Attitude Era stuff that she was doing, that she got very famous for. But as a wrestler, she was born 15 years too early, because she could have been in the mix with all of these women in her prime had she been trained to wrestle like this. Keila, let's start with you. I want you to give Trish her flowers in the way that you can.
First of all, I want to apologize, because Scott and we said something on the show Tiffany and Trish, I don't think they're gonna have the chemistry to go out there and put on a compelling match. I apologize. They went out there and shut my ass up, and I'm very happy they did it. Trish, we should preface this by saying she's almost 50 years old. Almost 50. And she's out there working as if she's 25 years old still.
Yep.
Just the crispness, the athleticism still. She went up top going for a moonsault in honor of her best friend Lita. Almost hit it. She missed it because Tiffany moved out the way. Like, she's trying new stuff at this stage of her career. Like, she's incredible. And as you said, like, if she just came in a different era, God, like, she would be one of the greatest to ever do it. And I still stand by that. She is one of the greatest to ever do it, because when she was around, there was no PR. She just went out there and did it, and she worked hard and she busted her ass. And to see her get this love now, it's incredible. But to see her perform at this high level in 2025 against Tiffany Stratton, who has been in this game less than 4 years, and to have a match of this caliber against Trish Stratus and not feel lost, and you doing new stuff too, looking like Roderick Strong out there with the backbreaker, like, what? So they was doing incredible stuff in that match. If they got 5 more minutes, I think it would have reached even greater territory. But for what they gave, like, Trish, we call her Mother Stratus on this show for a reason. That is why.
Scott, Trish is all about that yoga. Like, I feel like we should all be on that yoga if it works this well for her. Now she's also got some like tremendous genetics as well. Like, she should, Mama and Papa Stratus, good job by you guys. But you probably, so you're quite a bit younger than I am, so you would have seen Trish more as the wrestling version of Trish versus kind of the TNA version of Trish that I saw her as originally. So you've kind of seen her progression as a pro wrestler in the ring. But I don't know. Do you think she's ever been better than she is right now?
I'm gonna keep it a buck. I've been a fan of Trish and realized how good she was when she was able to carry Snooki to a good WrestleMania match. Listen, anyone able to take Snooki and have her have a passable match at WrestleMania, you're good in my book. And then I can take it all the way back to her match with Mickie James at WrestleMania. Like, that's one that you'll always remember. Her WrestleMania main event with Lita on Monday Night Raw. That was a good match.
Wait, so, was that Snooki match? Was that the one that Johnny Nitro got all pissed off at?
Oh, yes. That little snooty asshole. 100%. He was so freaking ungrateful.
Shaking nobody's hands. Wasn't doing nothing.
Oh, snob.
And Snooki's in the middle of it like, what do I do? Hey, guys. What do I do?
Snooki's like, I was a cheerleader. I can do one spot. I can do a handspring. And that's what I'm here for.
And she hit that joint. But Trish hasn't missed, in all honesty, since she came back against Charlotte Flair at SummerSlam. I don't think she's really had a bad singles match. You can go to her matches with Becky Lynch. She was able to elevate Zoe Stark. Like, she's been excellent since she's come back. I hope this was not the swan song, because I think she's still got a few more left in her. But yeah, I'm with you. I think this is some of the best she's looked. And yeah, she is a what if she came later. I think like her, Victoria, Gail Kim, those type of wrestlers, if they would have came nowadays with these women, who knows what the ceilings could have been for them.
Was Gail Kim there? Did they show her at all tonight?
She was not there. She said, okay, I was watching the show from home, and she was watching the show from home.
Somebody who would know told me not to be surprised if she was there. So I just assumed she was going to be there, and then I didn't see her. So
long night at the Beyonce concert the night before.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, so let's talk about this show. I have to admit, I missed the first match because I got in late, and I hate Peacock. Can I say that? I know Peacock gives us a lot of content, but I hate that app because I checked in a little late and it only let me rewind so far, and basically it let me rewind to after that match was over. So I couldn't go back. And then because they do this press conference thing and like the pregame all the way to the end of the press conference, that's the locked in show. And so there's no replay until all that stuff is done. So I didn't get to see the opener. So I apologize, but that's why we have Scott and Keila on here. By the way, Joe Gilbert from our Discord says, it sounds like Trish plans on being back sometime, maybe even this year. So I'm assuming he got that from the post-game press conference stuff. Okay, so give me the details of Becky and Bayley and Lyra. I know that Becky won. That's all I know. So Keila, since you're the usual host of the wrap, I'll let you break down the match for me.
It was great. Atmosphere was crazy. The fans were giving them a standing ovation before the match started. Bayley hyping the crowd up. They were into everything. The chemistry with all three ladies were on point. The physicality, the counters, the top rope pin breaks midway through the match from Lyra and Bayley was excellent. When it got down to Bayley and Becky, they were just swinging, hitting hard. It was really, really good stuff. And I love the fact that at the very beginning of the match, Becky threw up the 4. It was very symbolic of where they were 10 years ago. Bayley did not get the call up at the time, had to wait a year to get called up.
They needed someone to carry that brand.
Listen, on her back for an extra year, and she did. But she threw up that 4, and it was like a special moment, and they scrapped, they clawed. It was great. And then Becky got the clean win with the roll-up on Bayley. It was great. And I loved everything about this match. Great opener, set the tone for the night, and all three ladies shined.
What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, there's not a lot more to add to that, man. It was great. I love another little touch at the beginning, how they knocked Lyra out at the very beginning and was like, yo, this what it is anyway. It's really about you and me anyway. Let's get her out of here. What's she doing here? There's always something about when the horsewomen link up. Like there's always like an extra, smush to the face, an extra little kick here, extra smack there. They really like to lay it in on each other. So, yeah, very enjoyable match. Set the stage for whatever they got coming at SummerSlam. Again, I'm just hoping that the end game is Lyra getting that title back.
I do want to shout out the folks in our chat. Fernando and Maria Graciela, always hanging out and showing us love. Of course, everybody's good friend, Lady B. She's also chatting. She said Becky cutting the promo at the end of the match next to the Becky Hogan sign was great. All right, so let's go to the second match, and this is where I started to catch up, which was Jacy Jayne against Jordynne Grace. And I've been on this thing with Jacy Jayne, and you guys tell me what you think about Jacy Jayne. To me, she looks the part, she talks the part, and then when she wrestles, it loses it a little bit for me. And that is not to say she's bad, because we've seen her. She's been in NXT. She's been marinating in NXT for quite a long time. And she kind of reminds me of like, in basketball, you guys would know, like the G Leaguer who's just like he's now 26 years old trying to catch on, or in baseball, the AAA player who kind of straddles between the major leagues and AAA. We call them quadruple A players. Like, she's got a little bit of that, in that I like her in NXT, but I know her goal is to go up. And if she goes up, I'm a little worried that she just gets lost. So I kind of want her to stay in NXT. I would say out of all the matches that I got to see, this was the one that I liked the least. I also didn't really like the finish. Blake Monroe hit a fairly weak shot to the back on Jordynne Grace with the title. And this match was more about, to me at least, Blake Monroe striking a pose at the end than it was really about the NXT women's title. And I really don't know what are they doing with Jordynne Grace? Like, she's obviously, she could wrestle at the main brand level easily. So this is maybe just I can't even I don't even think it's about learning WWE style because she's been working on US television forever in TNA. So I'm kind of wondering what's going on with her. But at the end of the day, Jayne keeps the belt. Blake Monroe and Jordynne Grace are now going to have a feud or whatever after their spa day from last Tuesday. So Keila, what did you think about this match? And am I rating Jacy too harshly? Do you find her to be good in the ring? What do you think?
I think this is probably one of Jacy's better outings on Sunday. I thought she did a pretty good job, kind of held her own. She does have something. I do agree. The concern is going up to the main roster and trying to fly solo. Will it work for you? I honestly don't know because the booking can be wildly unpredictable. But I thought she had her own last night against Jordynne Grace, and then Blake Monroe stabs Jordynne in the back as we predicted that she would do. Muscle muffin my ass. So there goes that relationship. That's done after what, 4 business days, literally. Now they're done. It's a wrap. But let's call out Michael Cole. Let's call out the voice of WWE, the greatest of all time, they call him. So when Blake Monroe hits Jordynne Grace with said championship belt to the back, what we heard, dead silence. Completely missed the moment. Then he wonders, was that on purpose? I said, it happened right in front of you. So of course it was on purpose. Like, Michael completely botched the heel turn. The voice of WWE, our great narrator, couldn't narrate that moment. Wade Barrett was no better. Both of y'all sucked at this. And it just really downgraded the match because the story was the belt shot to the back, and both of y'all went on mute like Beyonce at the concert last night.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So here's my question off of that. We know Michael Cole did Saturday night's main event, so he's got to work 2 shows in 2 nights. Also, I can't imagine he's watching NXT. We have Corey Graves, who's the ultimate utility announcer. This dude can go from NXT whenever Pat McAfee is like, oh, I'm too tired to come to Raw. Then he goes on Raw. Whenever they run the AAA show, they're like, hey, Corey Graves, you don't speak Spanish. However, we need someone to do this. And he's like, I'm in. Like, you got the greatest utility announcer in wrestling today. He should have been on this match, I think. Why did we get Michael Cole and Wade Barrett other than cohesion? Like, I don't know. Like, I was just like, shouldn't we get some NXT presentation here in the announcing of this match, since this is an NXT title match? Like, why is Michael Cole calling this? Because he has no idea what's going on.
It was bizarre to me. I did not get it. We could have had Corey there that would have understood the assignment way better than Michael did. Hell, Joe Tess would have understood what was going on more so than Michael Cole did. It just completely ruined the end of the match because, dude, it happened in front of your face and you don't say anything, and then you question whether or not it was intentional. It was. It was.
What if Corey Graves was like, I can't do it without Book? Then I would be like, okay, maybe it's okay for Michael Cole and Wade Barrett to call this match. Can you imagine Booker T just doing one match on this show, trying to get himself over just in this 8 minutes or 12 minutes or whatever, like working the hardest for himself, getting all his catchphrases over. I think Corey Graves should have, because like, why else would they know what was going on? Like, they don't follow it. They're not the normal announcers. I mean, they should be a little bit more professional, but yeah, that was Michael Cole had a rough night, by the way. He was not in his forte. There was many moments where he was confused, and he probably thought he was in a couple different dimensions based on some of the people that he saw tonight, right? He's like, oh, Jacqueline, and then I have to call this Tiffany Stratton match, and then Medusa, I mean, Alundra Blaze, I mean, Medusa. It's like, come on, dude. You can't change her name 3 times just by her waving to the crowd. Anyway. So what do you, am I too hard on Jacy, Scott?
So I'm actually the exact opposite about Jayne. I actually think she's pretty solid in the ring. I think her
LaRocca thinks the
character.
same thing. He and I disagree on Jayne in her in ring at least. LaRocca thinks she's doing a really great job.
Yeah, I think she's real solid. Like anytime she's in there with anybody, she's able to hold her own and have a good match. It's her character for me. I said this on the show. I think she's a great number 2. I think she's a great captain to report to the general of whatever you got going on. But her as a number 1, that's where I'm like, nah, that's not for me. But yeah, I'm the exact opposite. I think she's real solid in the ring. You can always throw her in there. She can take the loss for whatever babyface needs to, get the win on the way. But I think she's a great number 2. So when she does get called up, like if she's a number 2 for Tiffany Stratton, or if she ends up, her little group ends up working with Blake Monroe when this is all said and done, I think she'll be fine. I think she'll be great and excel in her role. I just don't think she's ever going to be that lead person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. By the way, I know that one of the things that I kind of fast forwarded through to catch up because I didn't want Peacock to really screw me over and cut me off before I was able to get through the main event was the Stephanie McMahon and Joe Tessitore segments. From what I gathered, it wasn't as heavy-handed as the Evolution rewatch that we did, Keila, where everything was like, oh my gosh, I never imagined an all-women's event in a million years and all that garbage. How did they present that stuff? Like, obviously, they probably put Stephanie over as like the reason why women's wrestling is evolved or whatever. But how heavy-handed was that stuff in the Stephanie and Tessitore segments?
It was way less propaganda than the first go round. It was way less. Stephanie was a talking head. She offered nothing of note. She was just there because of her name to just get things over. And that was perfectly fine. She didn't overstay her welcome. But I will say, like, this was not a heavy-handed, we changed the world of women's wrestling. We made it possible. Stephanie invented women's wrestling. Triple H is the godfather. Like, it wasn't none of that, which I think was really good to see. Like, they've grown from the first Evolution in terms of the talking points. So good points there. Stephanie was just a nice talking head, but she brought nothing of value.
If you guys were in charge of finding the right person to promote this show, who is not an active wrestler, who is not someone who is going to be a part of it from that perspective, because I was trying to think about this. Stephanie McMahon is not the right person. She is going to be there for as long as she's going to be involved with this company for sure. But she is not charming. That is her problem. Is she kind of smiles weird and she's not charming, and she comes across, no matter what, even when she tries to be nice, she comes across as somebody's boss. And I don't like that energy when I'm trying to root for something or enjoy something. Who would be someone that you could pluck out of yesteryear? I know you remember WrestleMania 32 when they changed the Divas title to the Women's World title. They used Lita. I still don't think Lita's the right person. Maybe it is Trish, but post career you could use her in that role. Is there anybody else that you guys would use in a role like that? Everyone wants AJ Lee to be involved, but she's been gone for so long. I don't know if that would necessarily be the right person, but that is an option too.
I think one of the best two of the best people that you could have happen to be related. One of them was in the Battle Royal, and the other one's husband was doing Yes Chance last night. So, and all those would be the best ambassadors for this. I think they would both be great for it. They have that podcast platform where they would be able to promote it as well. Brie Bella, honestly, would probably be the best person I think you could have pulled to do it. If it wasn't this weekend, you probably could have made that happen.
What do you think, Keila?
I think the Bellas are the best choice. I know some fans might despise it, but listen, I do enjoy their podcast when they have a lot of WWE talent. They will always advocate for the women's division. I will never forget Nikki was turned up at SummerSlam almost 4 years ago when Bianca lost that championship to Becky and the way that it happened, and she was going off. And that might have been the moment they said, well, your contract expired now. Like, you can go. Like, she went off. But we need that kind of passion and advocacy to really push forward, like, evolution. I appreciate that. So I like the Bellas. I think Lady B mentioned Beth Phoenix. AJ Lee's an option for me too. I think that is the one return that fans would really love to see in WWE at some point. Outside chance, if they negotiate a deal, maybe Paige, if she decides to come back to WWE, or because of politics, unfortunately, it won't be Mickie James. So it won't be her, but.
Oh, Beth Phoenix is out too. You didn't see who else showed up? you didn't see them coping over there? So Beth Phoenix is out too.
Keila saw probably when because I watched, I still haven't even finished All In yet. I still have 2 matches left, but I was preparing for a wedding, which is also why my watching of Evolution was kind of funky today, because I was trying to catch up with everything. I was at a wedding yesterday, and so my wife is in the wedding, so she had to kind of be there all day. I didn't have to be there until early evening, so I was like, okay, how much of the show can I watch in the 4 hours that I have while I'm preparing? And so not much, because that show was 6 hours, by the way. But so I get to the event, and I still got I get there about 15 minutes early. So I got like 15 minutes. So I just throw it on my phone, and I see the end of the tag match. And so I see Nick Wayne give Christian the move and knocks him out. And then I see Edge come out, and then I see Edge walk around the ramp, and then I see Edge do the penta dance down the stage. No, I'm just kidding. He didn't do the penta dance, but it was kind of like the same.
Yes, he did.
The same urgency as Penta and Jeff Hardy coming to save somebody. And I thought, at least he and Christian could do something. But then I thought the same as Scott, which is, I wonder if Beth is going to do something, because I would imagine, even if Beth is like, on WWE side, she's like, yeah, I would love to do stuff. They probably don't want her to, just because people would associate her with Adam Copeland, and they don't like that. So I wonder if she's kind of persona non grata right now. I don't know that for sure, but it does make me wonder. But here, okay, last thing on this, which is, I think whomever this person is, I think we need to see this woman around more, because you have so many guys in these power positions. Obviously Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Dwayne gets off of a private jet, and people think like, oh, what is this going to be something with wrestling? Like, they still associate him with that. But there is not a woman in a high position in that company. And I know Stephanie is supposed to kind of be that, but she's, as far as I know, she doesn't even work there anymore. She's the one who stepped away. There needs to be somebody in power to stand up for certain things. And so what I would love to see somebody in a role like that, where they do hire a woman to be that spokesperson and stand up for certain things and help book the women's division, and be that mouthpiece too, because they need it. Like the marketing aspect of it. Like there's Scott knows this, Keila knows this. How much bigger is Caitlin Clark than any woman's wrestler right now, right? And the WNBA is not even taking advantage of it, because they can't. Like, they don't have the marketing arm that WWE even has. So imagine you put somebody in that spot. I've been on the Bianca train. Like, how can we make Bianca bigger than life? Like, the opportunity is like right there. She's like the next one in waiting. Like, she is at the perfect time. Her and Rhea are kind of like right there. And why are they not Caitlin Clark? WWE can work all the finishes, and it's all fake. They can write the stories like why can't they be Caitlin Clark? Like, that's what I want to see. We kind of had it with Ronda for that short period of time, but she wasn't going to be long for the business. But I want to see Caitlin Clark in the WWE, and I don't know why that we don't have that. So, okay. Now, the next match was the 4-women tag, the Fatal 4-Way tag. We talked about that a lot, but I do want to mention Asuka and Kairi Sane are awesome together. I made this joke. Street clothes Asuka is like my favorite wrestler of all time. Whenever she's in her leather jacket, like she just looks like she's like so much faster and stronger than when she's even in her wrestling clothes. It's like a power up in a sense for her, like if this was a video game. And so street clothes Asuka is amazing, and I just think her and Kairi together were really fun. Like I was pretty sure that Raquel and Roxanne were gonna retain just because that storyline is really first in front of the line on Raw, and I love that storyline as well. By the way, I think it's amazing. The Judgment Day just cracked me up constantly. But man, Asuka, Kairi, and then we had Alexa and Charlotte, and there are other teams that you can make in there. I think that'll be amazing. So I'm really looking forward to whatever this tag team division it becomes. But like, let's start doing it, because I think there's talent on the men's side of the tags as well. But that's like mid-card city, the way that they book them, right? Like, I've been on the Street Profits thing forever, as far as especially about Montez. But for whatever reason, it's just mid-card city unless a singles champion like Cody, they put him in a storyline for the tag titles. Let's not do that to the women. Let's elevate these tag belts because they have so much talent with these teams. So that's what I am hopeful for. But was there anything else that we missed when we were talking about the Fatal 4-Way, Keila?
Let's see. So Ruca snatching Charlotte Flair's soul and Charlotte selling it like the rent was due. That was incredible. I love that.
And it was perfect, because the ones that I hate are when they have to jump into it, and because it looks so fake. It looks like, it looks so synchronized. So the way that she hit that one, some of it is because Charlotte is so tall and there's a lot to grab. But I thought that one was great because it didn't look like it was Charlotte helping set up the move.
It was out of nowhere. The fans popped for it, and like Charlotte sold it beautifully. And then like the Charlotte hot tag for me, it was everything. Like the way she moved, like the momentum she had. It was really, really good stuff. And then the finish happened kind of out of nowhere, kind of snuffed out the vibe of, oh, Charlotte and Alexa could win this, but I think they will down the road. And I think our biggest challenge for the longest time is making sure this division stands out. And I think the saddest thing for me still in this year would be the dissolvement, unfortunately, of Lash and Jakara, because Jakara got cut.
Yeah, it's a bummer. Is she doing stuff on the indies?
She is. She is actively being booked and working. Yes.
She needs another name, though, because I think I saw her other wrestling name, and it was not as cool as Jakara Jackson. She needs to go back to the drawing board with the wrestling name, because she's got talent, man. Like she's got a great look. So hopefully she can latch on somewhere, because I think I don't know if it was a mistake because they have so many women, but that's not. I don't think I would have cut her for sure. I think I would have definitely let her, kept her and see what they had with her and Lash, and see how far you could go with it. What else? Did we miss anything, Scott, with the Fatal 4-Way?
The only other takeaway I had from it was that I'm pretty sure Asuka vibes out to 3-6 or Slim Thug when she's in her car just chilling, the way she was rocking out to that Judgment Day theme. Just the way she was head bopping just looked very natural, like something she does on her own.
That's so funny. I was kind of put in charge of coming up with songs for the wedding reception, and so everyone's kind of in my age range, which is, we were going to the clubs in like the late 90s all the way through like the mid 2000s. Like that's the sweet spot. And so I put together the playlist with that in mind. But like, what is your, like, I'm not saying y'all are going to the clubs or anything, but like, what's your party starter song from those days? Like, is there a song where you're like, if you want to get my people on the dance floor, just play this song?
It depends on where you at. Party and bullshit, Biggie all day.
Mm-hmm.
That'll get everything started. But if you're with the family, if you at the cookout or something, and you got to keep it wholesome, you could always just throw in the Cupid Shuffle, and everybody just gets up.
There you go. What about you, Keila?
Oh, it's a tie. So I think if you want to turn up, you put on a little Montel Jordan. This is how we do it. Set the tone off right. Or
that was on the list for sure.
Or you pick the song that people kind of prefer, Return of the Mac.
Mm-hmm.
People love that song too.
That was on the list too. My two go-tos, and I'm a little older than you guys, but Poison by Belle Biv DeVoe is one.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, which is kind of funny because I am from the West Coast, and there's some problems with this stuff back in the mid to late 90s, but Hypnotized by Biggie is the other one, where when I was actually going to the clubs like that would get people who were like kind of bored, like their ears would perk up and they go, okay, I kind of have to go out there even if I'm not feeling this night. And you would think that like Pac would be the one, but Pac doesn't have that many dancey songs. Like, people could rock out to California Love or I Get Around or whatever, but like not that Biggie song for whatever gets people going crazy. So those are always my two that I think of. I was like, because like when the DJ was playing last night, there were moments where I was like, if you just played this Too Short song, if you just play Blow the Whistle right now, all these people sitting down on their phones are gonna get up. But he didn't know. Like he's, maybe he doesn't know. He was a little bit younger than me, I think. But I put that on the list for a reason, bro. I was like, if you that you could get that thing going, but he didn't. He played it at the end, but it was almost done by then.
Was R. Kelly's Step in the Name of Love on the list or played?
So I took out all R. Kelly songs. I took out all Kanye songs, and I took out all Puff Daddy songs except the Pass the Courvoisier Part 2. I kept that in there because I was like, I'm really doing Bus a Bus something wrong if I take this song out.
Yeah.
But
we forgive the ad-libs.
Yeah. So but I had to
put Shake Your Tail Feather in there.
Oh, absolutely. No. Nellie's on the list too. No.
What did Nelly do?
Went to the inauguration.
At the
ball.
I forgot about that. Also, Nelly and Carrie Underwood on playing in the same team.
Yep. So she on the list too.
Hiding here, gone.
It's gone. Dilemma's gone.
I popped a Lady B in the Discord one time with the is your mama half reindeer line we were talking about something I forgot, but I popped her with that line. All right, so let's get back to this stuff so we can get out of here. We talked about Tiffany and Trish. I don't think we need to go. I actually didn't realize that match was actually only 8 minutes and 30 seconds, and that it just makes me give them even more respect because they didn't even get a ton of time. But okay, Jade and Naomi. This was a plunder because of the no holds barred stipulation. I'm not sure if Bianca Belair went to referee class this week. There were moments where like Jade went to get the table and Bianca went over there and I was like, no, you're not supposed to help Jade pull the legs out of the table. Like what are you doing? And then she was like, oh yeah. And then she went back to check on Naomi. But yeah, she didn't really, I think she was like trying to figure out what am I actually supposed to do? Because there wasn't really like many spots for her to, it's a no holds barred match. There's no rules that anyone was going to break for her to be like, nope, you gotta, I'm gonna count to 5 or whatever. She was just there to call the pin. So it's kind of weird. I mean, I think putting Bianca in anything is a plus for me because I just like seeing her because I think she's got tremendous charisma and star power. But I think this was a good way to get around the Jade and Naomi matches, which have been a lot of the same, which is to throw the no holds barred stip in there. You know, Naomi had to go through a lot of stuff. I was a little worried about that finish when it was happening. I was like, oh no, but they got it. It worked. I thought it was effective. Jade is ever so slowly getting better. I wish she was getting better faster, but I still root for her to be as good as I think she can be, because I think she's got a lot of the things that you look for in a pro wrestler. But ultimately, Keila, what did you think about this match?
I thought it was solid. You know, I want Jay to succeed too. The brawl the night before, I thought it really added to their match in terms of hype and excitement. I just want Jay to get out of her head and not think about the spots and where you're supposed to be and just go with it. That'll come with time. She'll get there. We have to remember she's had like less than 100 matches in her entire life. So she still has a ways to go to figure it out. Hopefully she does very soon. But it was a nice showcase for Naomi, per the usual, despite the L. I did laugh when her nose got bloody. She said, well, you know what?
Gosh.
Let me go ahead and wipe my nose on Jade's weave. I said she is so twisted. I love her. But Bianca Belair, who I adore, you were trying to be the most concerned referee, asking your friends, are you okay? Are you all right? Are you good? Are you like, Bianca, you cannot have your emotions tied to this match, but she called it fair down the middle. She gave Jade the win fair and square, and then we had that look between them. So things aren't quite square with them yet, and we'll see where it goes when Bianca heals up. My concern still is 2 splints on the fingers, and it's been 3 months since WrestleMania. She's not near ready to come back, and that makes me sad.
What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, I thought the match was solid. Naomi again shows why she is deserving of being the top woman on the roster. Bianca, like you said, Bianca just being involved elevates it. And the school that Bianca went to for refereeing was the same school that the referee went to that was holding the table for Rhea and Raquel on Monday Night Raw. So she's like, oh, so we're supposed to be holding the legs of the table. Got it. Okay. So that's where that school of thought came from.
Well, and there wasn't even really a worry, because I thought, okay, Bianca's got to get involved in some way. Is someone going to accidentally push her or hit her? I mean, nothing really was there for her to do. So I think she's just there because people, you want her to be a part of that show, and she's got to be at least. I think she was on the poster, so you want her to be involved. So I guess you didn't want to get her to get physical or whatever, but maybe I would have had her like be the host of the show or something instead, and help get some of this stuff started. But it was fine. I thought the thing on Saturday night's main event was actually really, really well done. So I was like, oh, now she's going to be in this match, and maybe that's why I was disappointed, because I was like, I thought they set it up so well on Saturday night's main event. All right, Stephanie Vaquer won the Battle Royal. We talked through that one. It was her and Lash Legend, which was pretty well done. And Stephanie Vaquer wins a World Championship match at Clash in Paris, which is August 31st. So we have SummerSlam in 3 weeks, and then we have Clash in Paris about a month after that. So, like, I was with the dates. I've been really confused about some of these shows, because SummerSlam is early August. Then we got Clash, and then I guess the NXT, or actually the NXT Heat Wave is probably heads up against some AEW show. The poor NXT brand just gets thrown to the wolves constantly. Okay, so main event, Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. They got 26 minutes now. 2 or 3 of that was added with Naomi. Like Scott said, they made it very clear that once she was added to the match, 3 ways or no disqualification, she was raring back like Barry Bonds to swing that briefcase. And she was just waiting for that bell. Like she even took like a half swing, and she looked back. She's like, "Are you gonna ring this bell?" Like, I'm waiting to swing. They finally rang the bell. She swung, and then we got to the finish there. So some of the things I liked about this match, Io Sky is such a delight. She is very good at WWE style, but she has her own wackiness to it. There's still some moments where I'm like, was this supposed to happen that way, or did she do it this way just because like she's kind of improvising? Like she has that feeling within her. Like there's some wrestlers in WWE where you're like, nope, they're doing it exactly the way that they're supposed to do this match. Nobody's going off script at all, even if they feel something in the crowd. But sometimes I wonder if that was supposed to happen that way, or if she's just going with it because that's how she learned how to wrestle. And what can you say about Rhea? Rhea is absolutely, if she's not the top woman on the brand, she's in the top 2 or 3. I'm sure everyone has their favorites. I feel like what WWE wants out of their top woman, she probably fits the bill more than anybody else that they have. Even if I still feel like it's either her or Bianca, and then there's some vets there that on any day of the week could be the top person. But she's just great. She's taken to wrestling like nobody's that I've seen really. From we saw her in the Mae Young Classic when she's like a teenager, and then to get to the NXT level, and then she becomes the NXT top star, and in a short few years she's now on top with the Raw brand. And from a sports entertainment perspective, her stuff with Dom and Priest was top notch. Now she's kind of pulled back on a lot of that right now. She's not doing a lot of that character work as she was, but she's so good at it. She's really a total package. I actually thought she was going to win this title, and then we were going to see what comes next. But like we said, Naomi wins it, and that creates some curiosity. It creates a little bit of mystery of where they're going. But ultimately, great main event. A great way to go off of pay-per-view as well, or PLE, in the way that we do with today's current social media ecosystem, because you want that thing to go viral, which is Bianca cashing in as like the surprise. I mean, Naomi cashing in as the surprise and going off the air with, oh my gosh, I can't believe they did that. So ultimately, like really, really good stuff. Keila, last thoughts on this match?
Yeah, one of the best matches of the year. Io Sky is incredible, and I'm just so happy that she's getting this opportunity to show how great she is via this babyface run over the last year or so. Rhea Ripley, when I see her work and I see where she started from the Mae Young Classic with the blonde hair, with the baby face, so young. And then she comes back real broody and moody back in 2018. And then she evolves even more in 2019 to where she is today. And as I think Scott and I talked about as well, like when she made the transition to the main roster, wasn't easy. She didn't get over immediately. She won at WrestleMania against Asuka, but no one really cared that much. And she lost to Charlotte Flair at Money in the Bank, a match that initially the fans did not give a damn about. And then Charlotte said, you can suck it. She was flipping the bird, and then they turned the entire match around. So you saw her basically evolve via the Judgment Day. And she was the front of that group for the last 2 or so years. And now she's back running solo on her own, and she's delivering at a very high level. And I think that people kind of underappreciate that because she doesn't work a lot of matches, because Triple H doesn't put her in a lot of matches consistently. That's like the double-edged sword. If you give her the championship, you might get iced out of working consistently. But when she does, you see this kind of magic. And we saw it last night with her and Io Sky, and they will run it back again because, once again, we still don't know if Rhea Ripley can, in fact, beat Io with a live, awake referee to make the count.
Scott, last thoughts?
Yeah, I think this is one of the best women's. I think, like I said, I think this will be talked about for a while. When we talk about Rhea Ripley, like, she has 3 of the greatest women's matches in WWE history. Say what you want about it. Her versus Charlotte at WrestleMania, the triple threat this year at WrestleMania. And I think this is going to go down as one of the better matches and moments WWE has when it comes to their women. This is going to be up there with Becky and Bayley. Bayley and Sasha from the Takeover. This is going to be up there with, like I said, the triple threat with Charlotte and Rhea. This is going to be a moment that we talk about. Io Sky, I think it's crazy that what got her over is her wrestling, and that's what they took away from her. It's one thing to do that with Rhea, who you make a special attraction, and you're gonna have to come to the PLE to see her wrestle and stuff like that. But Io Sky is built on wrestling. Like, that's her whole thing. That's what got her over. That's what keeps her over, and that's why the fans come to see her. So now that she's not champion, I'm looking forward to seeing her wrestling on TV.
Yes.
All right. I want to thank the both of you for jumping on and doing this. I needed this was more of because like I said, I was out of town, and so I came back and I was like, I want to do this Evolution show. Who am I going to do it with? And you guys just raised your hand and said that you'd do it, even though I had said, I don't want you guys to do so much. Like, wrestling, sometimes you should just be able to watch it and not have to think about talking about it. But the wrap is coming up on Tuesday night after NXT. We'll put that up, audio, and for people to listen to on Wednesday morning. And it sounds like this Seth Rollins thing, I'm trying to figure out how hard they're trying to either kayfabe people or this dude is really hurt. Where do you guys sit with this Seth thing?
Well, Paul says he's going to Birmingham tomorrow, so prayers up. Well,
I guess that my thing is why would you have to kayfabe this so hard? Like, what would be the reason to have to kayfabe it so hard?
There's no good reason. Unless
just because he lost to give him the reason to lose?
I have no idea, unless trying to swerve somebody and say he'll be back at SummerSlam and he cashes in there. But if he goes to Birmingham tomorrow and this guy goes under the knife, by the end of this week is going to give us the answer regardless.
Creative control. I
when I was watching Saturday Night's Main Event, he does the thing, and Michael Cole goes, see right there, his knee buckles. I was like, this brother's knee did not move. He's wearing black pants. How are we supposed to see?
For me, it was how calm he was in the corner. Like, I was thinking, he either knows he's never walking again, or this dude is just like, hey, this is where I need to stop right here. So what we're going to do, we're going to sit right here for about 2 minutes. I need you to bring these trainers out and let's get this popping. And Paul Heyman walked over. So I don't know. I just knew he was coming back out at the end of the night, and I was wrong about that. So
yeah,
I hope he's not hurt too bad.
Me
no,
too.
I mean, he's fantastic. I don't want him to be hurt, and they got all the plans.
Sure,
but
sure.
The thing that is interesting is if he is hurt, all of a sudden Braun Breaker kind of gets thrown into a bigger spot, which could be really great, or maybe something he's not ready for. But that'll be interesting. And if Seth is really hurt, they will probably turn somebody else heel, because this group just takes up so much of the TV time on Raw these days. So yeah, we'll see. I hope it's kayfabe, but at the same time, like, why are you guys working so hard to try and fake out the fans? Like, we're gonna figure it out at some point. Sean Ross Sapp or Dave Meltzer are gonna figure it out, and they're gonna say yes, either he's injured or no, this is really fake. And then could be like the R-Truth thing all over again, where they gotta the information comes out and then they gotta talk about it in a way that makes it seem like that they were ahead of everybody. Like, and by the way, what the hell is R-Truth doing right now? Not much. All right,
it's not even Ron Killings anymore.
I know
he's back to R-Truth.
He was R-Truth, aka Ron Killings, and then just back to R-Truth.
And I hold him partially responsible for that, because the fans wanted you to change your theme song. And when you said, I'm going to keep it the way it was, I was like, well, now we're done. Because see, if you're not going to come back completely different, then what are we doing here?
Yeah. Just can't just cut your hair and expect that to be it.
Yes, I'm still R-Truth. No. You are Suzuki Truth now. That is who you are.
Well, he's driving now.
He's driving now, so that's what matters.
Driving off the impasse as we speak.
All right. Thank you again to Scott and Keila. And we'll be back on this network. As far as a live stream, I think, I don't know, Paul, I know Paul's out of town for the Dynamite show. Jeff, I think they're still doing their show, but something like Paul's going to do it without having watched the pay-per-view. I don't know. This is going to be something funky. We'll see what happens. We'll keep people in mind. And then obviously Thursday, speaking of Strong Style, and then the Power Bombshells will be back in their normal spot on Sunday morning. All right. Thank you to the folks who are in the chat. Thank you to everybody who's been hanging out with us. Peace out.